in my other research, because I'm quite interested in Islamic burial in general and archaeology of Islam burial and how it can be carried out. So I became quite interested in this naval cemetery in Portsmouth. And this is a cemetery, you can see a view of it. And so most of the people buried here are people who are in the Royal Navy. But in one corner, you get this, which is a cemetery of Turkish sailors who came here in 1850 on a ship, the Ottoman Sultan, and they're here to do. I think they're actually delivering material for an exhibition. But 21 of the 21 of the sailors died because the ship was here for a long time, and they're buried in the cemetery at Haslar Hospital. Now, this isn't actually Haslar Hospital. This is a different place. So in the 1880s, the hospital closed its cemetery, and the remains were disinterred, and then they were later reinterred here in this cemetery in Portsmouth. And this is, you can probably just about see it. This is one of the original gravestones for the people who died there. So this really says a lot about British Ottoman naval cooperation in the 19th century. There's a lot. Britain, basically, the Ottoman Navy was really a collaborative endeavor between British personnel and the Ottoman Navy. So the Ottomans had some of the first steamships, naval steamships, first ironclad steamships in advance of other countries, because Britain was the foremost naval power at the time. And so Britain did a lot of work and training of Turkish troops. And I've been reading a lot of the accounts, and the relationship between the British and the Turks was very good at the time. And now this is one other gravestone there, which doesn't actually fit in. And this is from 1879. And I've looked at newspaper reports of this, and this is from the remains of Adjutant Major Abdullah Effendi. And he was the military attaché at the Turkish embassy, and he was killed because his horse threw him off when he was in the Horse Guards parade, and he's killed. And this is in 1879, and so he died. And given the idea that you should be buried as soon as possible in Muslim custom, the idea was, where could he be buried? So they had to think quite quickly. So they decided on burying him in the only well-known Muslim cemetery at the time, was this one in Portsmouth. So there's a huge funeral for him, attended by lots of very famous people. And this was actually very much a society event. I mean, we've got newspaper accounts of this, and this was regarded as like a major event of an important Muslim Ottoman official who died in London. And I've got a huge report here. So that's something that's quite interesting, because I think it's interesting that it was decided that this was important, that he got buried here. And today, those new gravestones, which you saw in the earlier picture, they're all provided by the Turkish embassy in London. And so this is, and in 1985, this was classified as a war memorial cemetery. So it's got that status. But one thing in terms of actual archaeology, which is quite interesting, that in recent years, about 8 years ago, there are more excavations carried out at the original site of Haslar Hospital, and they found a number of burials which they thought might also be Muslims. Now, the excavation was carried out because it's still Ministry of Defence. And so that's something, again, which we need to look at, because I haven't actually been able to look at the records, but there may be more Muslims. I think there probably were that are in that, which need to be studied anyway. But that's archaeology, by the way, takes a long time for the analysis. So that's why we don't know for certain yet. But that's, again, something that's interesting.